Trying to get by Benning. Darnell Nurse left it in the corner. Getzlaf center. Perry scores! Corey Perry!
Ilya able to shake away from Solani. It's given away to Solani. Around in front. Score! Teemu Solani with the steal.
Three in the face. 1-1. Score! Off the floor! On the board! Paul Kariya!
Fan.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Forever Mighty Postgame Show. It's Pat and Steven on the mics tonight. Steven's dying laughing because the Ducks won. He just can't believe it. He's got some sort of laughing gas on his end over there. Or it could just be that we were making fun of Eddie. It'd just be one of the two things we were talking
probably
about.
that.
How's it going, man? We get to talk about a win and briefly about a loss from last night. But hey, man, I'm more excited about the latter of the two because we could finally get to be on a show where they won.
Yeah, I think it's cool that over 2 games there was 10 goals and all but most of them happened last night and not tonight. I just going from a 4-4 shootout win, 4-4 shootout loss to a 1-1 shootout win is such a Ducks ass thing to do. Like it just. Anyways,
you want to get to the bad news first. We could talk about last night's. We'll talk about last night's loss. Those listening briefly. We're not going to spend a ton of time breaking it down. I think the most concerning thing to me, really, out of all of last night's loss, was not the collapse in the third period because I expected it. It was more the interesting shakeup of the lines due to Ryan Getzlaf's lower body injury.
Yeah,
very interesting how they put Derek Grant back on the top line and moved Henrique to the wing. Interesting. You had a tweet about that?
I just I don't know. Like, to me, if you want to play Grant at center, it felt like the obvious thing to do. And what I kind of expected them to do would be to move Backes up into that first line role. Like, Backes has been a first line center in the NHL before.
But
like, he's not. And it's been
not.
20
okay,
years.
Thank you. I was like, we're going to argue this on the show. We're going to spend 20 minutes on the first game.
But if you're asking me, like, who do I trust a little bit more to at least understand kind of what's going on in a first line role between the human meme or the guy who Phil Kessel hurt his feelings, I figured it would have been David Backes. And then on top of that, like, it's almost like commitment to the bit. They freaking left Henrique on the wing, who they acquired after having to play Derek Grant at first line center. They brought Henrique in to not have to do that. And then they were just like, what if we just play them together? And I'm just like, what are we doing? It's just so dumb.
That whole thing to me is pretty wild, man. I had a hard time when I saw the projected lineup. I was like, oh, huh? Wait a minute here, though. Is there nobody else? They had nobody else? Like, we couldn't have put Sam Steele on the top line. Like, I know Steele had been playing well, but they just, I guess, for whatever reason, this little shakeup because the Ducks have had a hard time scoring, and they thought Derek Grant was going to pump it up, I guess. But besides... No, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, like, I honestly almost wonder if it is just, losing Getzlaf situation is going to hurt the team, right? Like, just he's a good player, so having him not on the ice is going to hurt, and it's almost like you're overthinking it and like, well, I don't want to mess with any of my other not good lines, so let me just tank the first line. And I think Henrique definitely looks better on the wing. I think Terry's looked good the last 2 games. They've certainly, I think there's things about it, but it's just such an odd decision to put Derek Grant there instead of moving Sam Steele up, like you said, or even moving Lundestrom up, like you said. And then on top of that,
by the way, had an outstanding game tonight, Lundestrom. Very visible.
Yeah. We're going to get to that because I was watching this game and last game, and I just think it's really interesting how when you don't expect your kids to play like veterans 5 games into the season, they kind of start to develop. Like,
it's almost like a thing we've been talking about.
They all are just slowly looking more comfortable. Like, you can 100% look at the way the kids are playing right now and be like, oh, I see kind of what these guys can maybe turn into. Like, it's nice to see. I don't think it can be overstated that they look their best against the other 2 worst teams in the division.
True.
But, you know,
That's what they were given.
That's what they were given. And, that's how it starts, right? That's why you play them in the AHL, because they're not NHL guys. And you allow them to learn and grow in that setting, and then you bring them up, and it gets a little harder, but they've learned more. It's kind of the same thing, right? Because I think they're two bad teams. We're the third bad team, and it's kind of like, look at, they're getting a little bit better, and to see them develop, if they're not looking good by the end of the season against, Minnesota or Arizona, then you have concerns. But I don't think I'm going to be mad at any of them for getting ragdolled by Vegas or Colorado.
No, but to your point, though, we won't spend too much time on last night's loss, but I want to just, derive positives out of it. Max Comtois, hell of a game. Looks like Rickard Rakell's brother. They had the same damn haircut. I mean, to me, they look the same. A lot of times I'm like, oh, they look the same.
Yeah.
Troy Terry.
Really fun.
What a hell of a heads-up play he made to actually cut to the middle of the ice and rip the puck. I mean, had a beauty of a bar-down goal last night, too. So another big thing we could pull from that is that he looked better. And I know we're talking about the bottom of the barrel teams. We don't expect to be very good this year. But, hey, man, the way these kids have to develop is they got to start scoring somehow. And if they can get them against these teams, fine. I'm okay with that. Whatever builds these guys' confidence going forward.
Right. And that's the thing, right? It's got to happen somewhere. It's got to happen eventually. And so I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that, they're looking good against lesser teams. Like I said, if, come the end of the season or 3 years from now or whatever, and they still haven't improved, then yeah, it doesn't mean much.
Right.
But they're looking more comfortable every day. I think tonight you saw that play where Terry just kind of slammed on the brakes 2 feet in from the blue line, and everybody goes by him. He watches the play develop. You kind of see some of that poise, see some of that vision that he's starting to have, and really, making the most of it. And I think it's nice, man. I think there's a lot of positives to be picked up that are small positives, right? I don't think there's any overarching positives, where I'm like, oh, maybe this is going to turn around for us this year.
No, not yet.
But what you want in a year like this is to see individual players make improvements.
Exactly.
And that's what we're starting to get a little bit. And in a short season, I think the timeline's a little sped up on them, unfortunately, and none of that's their fault. But, they're all starting to look a little better. I mean, this had to be Lundstrom's best game tonight.
Yeah, easily his best game.
That's semi a low bar. He started out the year a little rough, but he seems to be adapting more to the level of play and the speed of the game, and he seems to be having a better understanding of where he can kind of fit into what the Ducks are trying to do and into an NHL game. It's nice to see.
No, it really is. And let's talk about this because we can go right into tonight's game. Pretty much the lineup stayed the same. And in fact, I think it was the exact same tonight, except for John Gibson not playing, Ryan Miller in. That was the only real difference on the lineup sheet. But didn't start out so awesome. I sat down at my desk, put on the stream on the computer, opened a beer, and before I was done, Couture scored. I was like, what the? This is what we're gonna do tonight? This is gonna be okay. Guess I'm gonna drink all the beer I bought for Super Bowl tonight. So let's get started.
Yeah. It was just take the air out of your sails real quick. Because, the one thing about the game last night is it was fun, even if it was bad.
I think tonight was fun too, though.
Yes, but to start off that first 11 seconds with just that kind of sloppy play where you got guys getting behind your goalie, getting behind your defense, and it's just okay, so last night was the aberration. And then, they played a much better game for the other, 59 and a half minutes or whatever.
I mean, seriously, I feel like after that little 11-second mark where Couture scored, I really feel like the first period, the Ducks really carried the play a lot, especially with that power play. Holy shit. I mean, where has this power play been? It's amazing when you decide to have movement that cuts through the center of the ice. Whoa, wait a minute. You mean if I take a shot from the sidewall or the half wall and there's 3 guys lined up, it's not going to get through? But if I step in, make a move, and make a dish off to a guy who's moving into the play, I have a chance. I mean, Dubnyk really stood on his head tonight. I easily could have seen this being a 5-1 game in Anaheim's favor. Easily. And that power play scored 4 times.
I think both goalies played well enough to cover up for the teams in front of them, but I definitely think just on scoring chances, I would say that definitely Anaheim carried it early.
Yeah.
And it's nice. You start to see, like you said, guys moving into the soft parts of the ice. That's the benefit of being a man up, is you don't have to match up hard. You can try to stretch the defense out, get him out of position, make him uncomfortable. And then, I think we've seen Heinen do that in the past. We've seen Raquel do that, where he just starts to slide into these empty areas. And, all you need is, 2 seconds, a second and a half of not anybody around you, and somebody gets you the puck, and it's nice.
Well, they do a lot of stuff like drive down the wall a bunch. They do it in regular during 5-on-5. Not a lot of cuts to the middle. And I know you want to kind of keep any sort of turnover is away from the other team as much as possible. But, I mean, Raquel draws a penalty while doing that earlier or tonight too. Comes in through the blue line, cuts to the middle, takes a stick to the skate, goes down. It's another penalty. Ducks haven't really been a big beneficiary of these referees blowing the whistles lately. All of a sudden lately, or prior to the past couple of games, I should say. Lately, it seems like things have kind of evened out a little bit and they're getting those calls. But I also feel like it's how they're playing. They're making the plays. They're trying to drive into the dangerous points of the ice and get inside the house to get the shots on net. And they're getting taken out and they get the power play opportunity. So it's a bit of a change from what we've been seeing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know I come on here and I just, use all these stupid coaching cliches, but like it really is sometimes as simple as moving your feet, You're not going to get any calls standing still or coasting when your feet are moving, because the thing of it is like you've got what, 5 foot, 6 foot stick at the end of your hand and you're just like sticking it out there. If you pick a foot up and step over it, you're going to trip yourself. But it's on the other guy, and that's how you generate penalties. You know what I mean? And so I think, we talked about at the beginning of the year, if the Ducks are going to have a chance to be competitive on a nightly basis, they're going to need great goaltending, which they're getting, and a power play, which they don't have. But tonight, and, you can kind of see some of that where you're looking at. I think the other is the passes along the blue line on the power play don't feel so like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like in the past it's just been like, okay, nothing here, pass it this way. Okay, nothing here, pass it back. Then pass it down, pass it up. And it's just kind of going through the motions, where what you're seeing here is you're seeing guys move around. You're seeing guys try to find empty areas. And then you've got guys like Lindholm who are just like, I'm going to wait and find a lane and shoot it. And I think that's the difference, right? Is they're looking for lanes instead of just trying to get shots off. And I think that's...
Well, yeah, anytime you want to move the puck off to the weak side of the ice with mobility, if you get a guy standing still, a lot of the times it's not really going to create any sort of dangerous chance unless he's already parked on the side of the net, wide open tapping. But yeah, you're right. The soft spot on the ice, the weak side of the ice. We're talking about the same thing here.
Yeah,
I think that it's easy for us to see, and I know we're not professional coaches,
right.
But it's nice to see the change happen on the ice for the Ducks, because so many other teams do these things. And I feel like to finally see the past couple of games, hopefully it's a trend that continues. We see a lot of the young guys being able to wheel a lot more too and get a lot more freedom with a puck. That's a big deal too on this team. Finally, I kind of feel like these guys are coming into their own a little bit. So that should be nice going forward. Hopefully this continues, because we got Vegas Tuesday and Thursday, and my God help us, because we're going to need as much of that as possible.
Yeah, and I think it kind of ties into what we were talking about a little bit off the top, is that, you're seeing some of these young guys get more comfortable, and these young guys need to play big roles for this team. Like, there just aren't any other options. And so, as guys like Comtois and Terry and Steele get more comfortable, they're able to make a little bit better plays, and, they don't feel like they're as rushed. You know what I mean? I think one of the early comments on Lundestrom was that he doesn't want to keep the puck on his stick. And the result of that is you don't want to make turnovers. You can't turn the puck over if you pass it to your guy before anybody comes near you. And so, when you see guys being willing to hold it a little bit more, or even just kind of slam on the brakes at the half wall and try to turn the other direction, like, it's little things like that that give you a little bit of hope. And that stuff starts to build and the team starts to play a little bit better. And now we have a power play that might be 25th instead of 30th. You know what I mean? But it's progress. So, I think that's, like we've talked about, that's where we're at with the Ducks this season, is we're looking for little small improvements from individual players that you hope can carry over into next year.
So if we go to the second period too, that's where we see Lundestrom score his goal. It was a Lindy or a Lindy to Lundy is what I called it, I think, on Twitter, or a Lundy from Lindy. Because at first I thought Lindy scored, and then you see the replay. I'm like, oh no, he did not. Lundestrom was trying to get out of the way, caught the shaft of his stick, gets right by Dubnyk. I mean, Dubnyk was on fire tonight, just insanity for Dubnyk, and some of the cases later against Raquel. I think Raquel he's due for a monster game because he was absolutely robbed several times tonight. But Lundestrom gets his first career goal. What is your overall takeaway from him in particular? We talked a lot about the young guys. You mentioned him not wanting to turn the puck over, but do you see anything in his game from tonight that you think that maybe is going to keep him in the lineup going forward against Vegas?
I think he looks a little bit more fearless. He's getting below the goal line. He's making plays. He doesn't look lost. I got to be honest. When you first read about these guys and they're like, oh, he's like a depth center. And I'm like, great. That's awesome. Two-way depth center. And then he hits the league and you're like, oh, I think he's probably going to end up as a wing. And I think tonight and last night, there's some hope now that you're like, oh, okay, maybe he actually has a chance to be, a bottom six center in this league, which is great. I think he's got good to above average skills in most things. I don't think he's elite at anything, and I don't know that any of his skills blow you away, but I do think the collection of it, and he's got some hockey smarts, you know what I mean? Like you can tell that he understands what he's supposed to be doing, and it's more about his comfort level. I think he's really aggressive on the forecheck, which someone like Dallas Eakins is going to love. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's when you've got him playing. Who was he playing between tonight? My brain just turned off. Raquel and Comtois.
Yeah,
that's
that
perfect.
Line, by the way, pretty much Raquel had an 80% Corsi tonight, which is, I know Corsi, everyone, nerd alert over here talking about shot attempts, but the shot attempts were 28-7. Like, that's including non-5-on-5 attempts, but insane amount of control that line had. That line was amazing tonight, by far the best line on Anaheim, easily.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you're saying is Raquel playing with guys of some level of skill, and a little bit more speed. I mean, before he's been kind of stuck with Silverberg and Getzlaf, and neither of those guys are fast, and Getzlaf's an incredible passer, but Getzlaf, he's not going to move a lot. You know what I mean? I think when you've got guys like Comtois and you got guys like Lundy, like you got guys who are willing to move around and, maybe kind of get a cycle going in a less traditional way that, get it down, you go to the front of the net instead of just kind of the same three guys just circling in the left corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's nice. This was one of the things for me last night that my takeaway was, is it's kind of incredible when you start playing younger guys with better veterans, they don't look at it. I just think to whatever extent Comtois, Steele, and Terry didn't work because there was nobody on that line that could settle the rest of it down. I think they had moments where they looked really good, and they had moments where they just looked completely lost. And I think having a Henrique play with a Terry, having a Raquel play with a Comtois and a Lundestrom, having Silverberg play with Steele, like you're starting to see these guys who can kind of do little things that make the games easier for the younger guys and allow them to find their games. I do think that Eakins has kind of found something with some of these lines, and the sooner we can get Grant out of that first line, the better we're all going to feel. I think it's pretty remarkable, that we're sitting here at this point and none of us think Delorier should come out of the lineup.
True. Very true.
I think
many nights I've thought Shattenkirk should come out of the lineup, but
I'm still not convinced that's not the best option. I also not convinced we shouldn't just play him at forward because he doesn't play defense anyways.
Lindholm's definitely driving that defensive pair. You and I talked that on Twitter, but he's really having himself quite the year, man.
Yeah, he really is. Like I don't know if he heard people saying that he's not a true number one defenseman, but like he took something personal, man. He's got a point to prove this year. He looked great.
Well, I mean, he was paired with Manson that was successful. We've talked about this so many times in the show, but it's just he was paired with Manson years ago. Things were great. Then they swapped partners, changed things up. Didn't work, went back to Manson, Lindholm. They were not good together. They're just, for whatever reason, not good. Something this season so far. I mean, this is the Hampus that we were talking about a few seasons ago, where we're like, holy shit, he is legit. This guy knows how to exit the zone. He knows how to, retrieve the puck and not, rim it around the boards and hope to God it doesn't go for an icing. This guy actually makes a smart pass. He's able to skate well enough too to get out of danger. Mm-hmm. And he can put on the odd point, right? He scores now and again, assists now and again.
Dude, he leads the blue line in shots.
It's insane, right?
That is not what you would have thought coming into this year was going to be it. You would have said it's going to be Shattenkirk, and if it's not Shattenkirk, it's Fowler. Mm-hmm. Those would have been your two guesses. And it's Lindholm. And I don't think any of us are sitting at home being like, you should shoot less.
No one's saying that about Lindy.
You know what I mean? he really does. He seems to have kind of found a new level. I do think that some of the issues that Manson and him had in their second stint together was more about the limitations of the pairing offensively. I understand that they didn't look as good on defense as well, but I do think there was a little bit of a book where you're like, okay, this line isn't going to generate a lot of offense from the back, so we can maybe try to be a little bit more aggressive and get him and see if we can catch him out of place. Because you don't have to worry about those two running the other direction, right? Like a Carlson or a Burns, where now all of a sudden they're your fourth forward. But I think, Lindholm's game has developed. And, for all of my bitching about, he can competently skate with the puck. You know what I mean? Like, he can take the puck out of the zone. He can make a pass. He can join the rush. It would
make us all feel a little better if he would score a few power play goals, right? Like, I feel like that was the main reason why he was brought in, was to run the power play. We needed somebody to run the power play because nobody seemed to be able to do it. And he's just hasn't looked impressive on the power play at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think I made that point on Twitter like a week and a half ago or something like that, that like, you live with him getting burned in his own end if the power play's clicking. The problem is the power play's not clicking. So now you're looking at Shattenkirk like, all right, man, what are you even doing here? And again, it's not fair. I'm not going to look any better out there. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, but it is, the context is he was brought in to be an offensive presence on the back end and really to boost that power play. And we just haven't really seen it yet. I feel like the majority of the power play chances have been generated by other players.
Especially tonight. That forward group looked really nice in the power play a few times, especially that first power play. Later on, not so much. We had a couple wasted ones, but hopefully we see something change there. And I wonder if it's almost time we bring back the Walrus. We bring back McLean to run the power play. Maybe we change things up again.
Where is he?
He's still coaching. I don't know if he's still coaching anywhere.
He's an assistant coach somewhere right now. I don't know
Paul
where.
McLean is?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Where is the Walrus?
McLean. Assistant coach with the Maple Leafs. That's right.
Oh, gee, what a tough gig he's got. He's running an all-star lineup.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's the plan for the power play? I don't know. I just tell John and Mitch and Austin to do whatever they want to do and tell everybody else not to screw it up for them. Okay, cool.
Yeah, just go out and have fun, boys.
So it's, but I think Heinen has been a revelation this year.
It's sneaky good.
He's good. And, he's not great in a way that, you're in awe when you're watching him all the time. But what he does is he's never really out of position. He makes really smart plays, and he has a knack for finding himself with the stick on his puck in dangerous chances. And he's got a shot, man. He's shown that he can beat a goalie. And so I think, this was kind of what I was thinking about tonight because of the whole Trevor Zegras thing in the 2 games and all that.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Definitely get to that.
Sorry,
I had to get a beverage.
Got the cooler by the
Saturday. I gotta get my banquet on tonight.
Get your adult beverage. But I think, you can start to see where these guys fit in a competitive lineup. You can look at Comtois and Heinen and Terry and go, yeah, you can start to fill out a top 9 with those guys. You can look at Steele and go, yeah, if he doesn't have to be the man, he can be a very effective player. And so that's kind of where your Zegras thing comes in, right? Where you're like, oh, what if we just bring in like someone who at the very least has all-star level potential? Because I don't think there's really anybody else on the team other than him and Drysdale and maybe Perreault, who you could go, ooh, they've got a chance at being a legitimate all-star.
What do you think about the comments in our chat right now? Jay Southern 5 said Eric Stevens made an observation that Heinen was team low in minutes, first and second period tonight. Interesting. Like I thought, I didn't even really notice that. And I looked at the minutes right now. Time on ice tonight. Go figure. Cam Fowler with the most minutes tonight. Ricard Raquel second. Lindy third. Schatz fourth. Larson, Comtois, Hakanpää. You go all the way down the line. Heinen was dead last night, 12 minutes. Played less than Delorier. Interesting.
Yeah. You can't have guys outplaying your first line left winger.
That's very true. Very true.
I don't know, man. Maybe, I will say I don't know that I noticed him a ton tonight. I think, my comments have been a little bit more about the scope of the season and how just I've been impressed with him. I thought he looked great last night, to be honest. But, if, he sat with Henrique and Raquel, what was that, a week and a half ago? When
tonight it was Steele and Silverberg, and they only played 7 minutes and 58 seconds tonight on 5-on-5.
That's weird. That's genuinely weird. I wonder how much of that is Backus going down early. Because he came back, but I just wonder if any of that had to do with it, or if Heinen's just having a bad night. You're having a bad night. You're having a bad night. I'm not going to be mad at anybody for it.
Every time somebody was tired, they just threw Raquel, Comtois, and Lundstrom over the boards. Like, go play. Come on, you guys have it tonight. Go do it.
Yeah, and I think especially for a team that doesn't actually have a number one line, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to ride the hot hand every night. The question is if you have enough guys who can generate a hot hand. And so, I think a 1-1 game tonight was all right. I don't think, it was the typical 1-1 game that I think some of us would be expecting in a game of two bad teams.
Well, I mean, Ricard Raquel absolutely robbed by a goal stickless Devin Dubnyk. I mean, no business that puck had from staying out of the net, but it didn't go in. Obviously, that was brutal for the Ducks. And then the shootout. I mean, I like the Comtois shot. Man, he just ripped that right through Devin Dubnyk, man.
Well, what's funny is he took that same shot earlier in the game, and he just got too high.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see him then go back to it, I thought was great. It just shows a level of confidence. Mm-hmm.
The kids did it tonight in the shootout.
Yeah, Shattenkirk didn't go well. What's wrong with my background? It's my Ducks win background. It's the future that we deserve. What's wrong with you?
Nobody likes your background, man.
I don't understand this. I love my background.
Steven needs to change his background. That's what Dave says.
My left shoulder keeps disappearing. How tragic!
Yeah, because every time you lean back, you kind of disappear into the darkness that is the future, according to your background. So we have plenty to talk about in this post game. We're at about the 32-minute mark tonight on the show. I want you to kind of talk to us a little bit about, just give us a quick excerpt of what we're going to be doing this next weekend before Valentine's Day for Patreon. For those who aren't involved in our Patreon, we're doing a special series coming up that Steven has put together for us. We're going to do
an all-time Ducks draft. Mm-hmm. We're going to each do full rosters of Ducks players. The limit on games, or the minimum, is going to be 60 games. So a couple of guys, we can get into this a little bit before, but like David Perron doesn't make the cut. I don't think Carl Hagelin makes the cut. But just, it's kind of fun. I think it would be a good way for us to just kind of talk about some people and, just have a little bit of fun. And
we're going to segment it, right? Because there's no way we're going to be able to
we're splitting
all these players.
I think we're doing 10 and 13 just because the first half is going to be a lot of the names that you expect, but that'll also be a lot of the fun and, some of that stuff. And then the back end, it'll be a little bit of like, me and Pat sounding old because we're taking all Brad May and all those guys. Yeah, Todd Marchand's my second line center. I don't care. You know,
As long as they can get
So-
Jim McKenzie, right? Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
I
do.
think you played enough games. Well, you
Bob-
know it's going to be you and I. You trying to be getting the Grim Reaper for the fourth.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
Definitely.
100%. I'm putting Sean Thornton and George Peros on both sides of Steve Ruchin. That's what it's gonna be.
That's your.
But yeah, man, we're gonna do that for Pucks and Brews, and it should be a blast. And hopefully we'll all drink a little bit, except for Eddie, and it'll get a little silly.
Drink. Like we can't have any more excuses for Ed. Like he has this whole thing. Like Ed's been doing the show. He and I started the show, and then Jason joined over. He was able to do it, and then now you're on. Keith's been on. We've had people sub in before, but like Eddie's been here long enough to know. We've done Pucks and Brews for years. We discussed this in our Twitter chat for a week at a time about when it is, like how we're going to schedule it and make sure it's going to happen. And like everyone's got wives, girlfriends, families, kids. And like sometimes he's like, oh, dude, I just never made it to the store to get alcohol. I was like, oh my God, all you really have to do is when you're at the grocery store, whenever you go, just buy a bottle of whatever. Just when you're at the store. You go to the store more than once a week. And look, Eddie's chiming in on chat. He's listening to the damn show. He's our forever mighty in the chat right now. It's true. Ed sometimes forgets alcohol. So Eddie has to drink during the draft. It's going to be a good time. You guys should definitely join us. If you haven't already signed up for Patreon and you're interested in supporting the show, getting a couple extra shows a month on extra content. Sometimes we're going to be doing more. Like Steven has another thing he did we just put out today as an extra episode. We're going to be trying to do more stuff like that. We'll talk about later. Just go to patreon.com/forevermighty. And you're able to sign up for our Patreon and join our Discord. Go to the extra shows. It's a good time. You get to see more of our personalities. You get to rip on each other and have some drinks, and you guys can join in too. But I'm looking forward to that, man.
I'm hoping it'll be fun. It's something that I've been thinking about for a little bit, and fortunately you guys are all kind enough to bring me into your little motley crew here, and I'm really excited about the chance to do it, and it'll be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of names that we'll forget or have forgotten that are going to come up, and there's going to be a lot of, oh, that's right, and I think that's going to be the fun of it. And there's 4 of us, and the Ducks have only been around for 27 years.
Yeah.
So there's not a huge amount of
like
players.
If you were to do the Red Wings, we would be
That's
be
the thing, right? Because if it's the Red Wings or Montreal, it's all friggin' what do you call it? It's like all at that point, it's just all-star teams. The fun of this for me, is going to be the guys at the bottom of the roster where you're like, oh yeah, why not? Like someone's going to pick Keith Carney. And that's going to be funny. Keith Carney wasn't bad. He made an Olympic team, but he's still Keith Carney.
I mean, Keith Carney fed Steve Ruchin to sweep the Red Wings. So I remember that goal.
Keith Carney
made it happen.
Is my point.
Yeah, I'm stoked about next Saturday's show. It'll be a good time.
Plus, we're going to make fun of Eddie for every time he picks an American. So
yeah, and people in the chat are agreeing with me that Eddie doesn't drink, so I appreciate everybody who's coming to my side on that. But it'll be a good time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And like
go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, just like Pat said, we're really trying to, talk amongst ourselves about ways that we can improve the Patreon experience for you guys and make it more fun. We've got the Discord. We jump in there when none of us feel like working during the day. I've been trying to be a little bit more active in there. We're trying to make it really worth it and just build our own little community and just have some fun. Especially right now when being a Ducks fan is semi-self-masochistic. It's a good little way to kill some time and to have some fun. So we really hope that any of you guys want to join us. That'd be great. We'd love to have you guys.
Absolutely. So let's get to the post-game show. The Ducks split the series 1-1, both shootout games, shootout loss, shootout win. But there's some kid down in San Diego who has 5 points in 2 games, and I don't know. Kind of making waves on Twitter from people.
He's a little skinny, though. I don't know if he can make it in the big leagues.
Trevor Zegras, I mean, just to me, looks very dominant with San Diego. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this kid could be a lot of fun in Anaheim. Is it time? Do we bring up Zegras? He has 2 goals in 2 games plus 3 assists. Is this the time? Do we bring up Z?
I don't know how long they can put it off. Like,
I thought you were gonna go the direct opposite
No,
way. And be
it
like,
really
no way,
is,
we
like-
can't bring him up yet. Like,
Timu's talking about it. Dmitry Filipovich is talking about it. The number of people
Chicklets
that
had him on their Instagram. Like,
the number of people who do not talk about Ducks hockey that are so excited for this kid. And I do think a big part of it is we're coming off of World Juniors, and we saw what he could do at World Juniors. And that was amongst his peers. And that's
the second year in a row, World Juniors, he dominates.
And so I think, Anaheim really does kind of owe it to themselves to try to ride some of this a little bit. Like we saw last night. They're not going to be good. I'd rather watch a 4-4 game than a 1-0 game. You know what I mean? And bringing up a guy like Zegras or Zegras, I don't know. I think I try to say it differently just to piss off everybody. Bringing him up, like, it just makes the team more fun. It makes it more enjoyable. He plays with a sense of joy that I just think could be a real boost for this team, just emotionally on a nightly basis when you have someone like that who's just like, screw it, let's just toss it around and have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like he's not competitive. You know what I mean? He's got a nasty streak to him. And he's young.
What did Filipovich say? Like, bring this guy to the NHL yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, get him up here.
Timu's out here being just bashing Bob Murray like he's on it.
Yeah, that's going to be the theme this season. It really, really is. The theme of Bob Murray not being awesome is defended Bob for a long time.
I am a big Bob defender. I think I talked about it with Eddie last time. I do think there's going to come a point where we all look back and we're very appreciative for what he did, the stability, the consistency that he brought to the franchise. At the same time, you can just be in one place for too long. Yep. And I do think at this point, there's not a lot to be gained by him staying around.
Not at this point.
I don't know if that means promoting Madden. I don't know if that bringing in someone from outside like Tulski, which is my personal favorite thing in the world, because I think it's really hard to look at those Carolina teams and not be like, ooh, yeah, that would be fun. So I just think I have a hard time thinking there's anything to be lost by bringing Zegras up. And like I talked about on the interview I did with John from Defend the Nest, if he doesn't look good, you can send him back down. Like, there's no law that once you bring him up, he has to stay. If he's not ready, you send him back down, which is across the street. They're in Irvine.
But looking at this team, how is he not ready? You're going to put a kid on the ice that is dominant. I mean, I think I can't remember who said it. I think it was Hockey Pro Training, another guy I follow on Instagram. Might have been Spittin' Chicklets too. It was like the no-selly swag he had on that shootout with I forgot who they were playing against that night, but just comes in. It just looked like it was so easy for him. Mm-hmm. And he skates away, like barely taps his dick and asks, like, yeah, I scored, whatever, guys. Like, bring me up to the show. It's where I wants to go. But like you said, he doesn't lack the compete. It's not like he's pouting he's not playing. This kid is kicking ass. Yeah. I mean, he did the fake. He tried to fake the Michigan last night.
Okay, we need to talk about this. Here's my question. Did he fumble it, or was it a fake?
He tried it twice.
He faked it.
Twice.
So
why would he do it twice
was a
and then rip that pass? I don't think it was a fumble. I think maybe the first time he was going to try to do it because the goalie was sitting low, and then when the goalie saw him, he saw the peak of the shoulder, he goes to raise his shoulder. So maybe he tried to do it again, and then I think the second time for sure was a fake.
Yeah.
Maybe you could catch me on the first time, maybe not, but the second time for sure he faked out everybody.
And I thought that was genius. Like I just think that is such a perfect example of something that this team, even at their best, has lacked, which is just that brazenness. You know what I mean? Like, the closest I can think of personally for me is when Bobby Ryan would just tear ass down that left wing, and he would just decide, I'm going to lean into you, and I'm bigger than you. And he would just cut to the front. And I don't know how he did it. I think he was the only person with a stick, as long as Chara's, and he would just put it out there and he would just make you try to get it. He made Pat Sajak cry. It's a beautiful thing. And it's so much fun to just have somebody who wants to try that. And the idea that he was either A, I'm going to do the Michigan, or B, I'm going to fake the Michigan. Like, what? Who? What? And then he's like, oh, yeah, and then I'm just going to pass it to this defenseman who's coming down on the side. And it's just like, yeah. And then, look.
And nobody saw that defender other than him.
Nobody. And then Curran could even wait it out. He waited it out and blasted it. And I'm just like, what are we doing, guys? Like, I started off the season wanting to really slow play it and be real conservative with Zegras. And at this point, man, just get his ass in Anaheim.
Hey, Drysdale scored tonight, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a beauty, too.
That's like the new top cheese, right? Like just above the pad, below the blocker, below the glove. That's the new spot.
That's sweet, man.
You picked it, man.
If you listen to Hazy, that's the one thing he knows is how to beat a goaltender.
Because he was beaten to death in his NHL career.
Yeah.
He and Darren Pang,
back up.
Amazing goaltenders.
Yeah. Hey, if nothing else, Hayward has one of the 5 to 6 greatest masks of all time from his time in San Jose.
What was it? Was it like
it's
the full
shark? It's a shark mouth.
Oh, okay.
It's a full shark mouth that's eating the goalie mask. It's incredible. And you're just like, that's so. And then you listen to him now, and I'm like, you're such a dork, dude. Like, how did you have like one of the coolest masks in the world? But it's fun. I just don't know what they're waiting for. I definitely think Drysdale should stay down a little bit. I don't know that his talent feels as overwhelming to me at this point.
Yeah, he's not as dynamic as Trevor Zegras is. That's exactly what I was going to say. He's a little quieter. Doesn't have to be flashy to be good. I'm not saying that, but I think that we have our defenseman kind of settled as it looks right now, and I don't think bringing him up on this murderous row of teams are playing night in and night out outside of LA and San Jose is a great idea for him. Honestly,
yeah. I definitely think he gets a shot by the end of the year. Maybe in the last 10 games or so, they'll give him 1 or 2 and see how he looks. But I definitely think it would be good for him to stay down. I think because, the one thing you can say is Zegras at least played college last year. So there was that next step up, that intermediary step, and he looks entirely too comfortable for the AHL right now. And I think that's what it is. It's about adapting to the pro speed. I don't think any of us thought he didn't have the talent or the skill. It was just how quickly is he going to be able to adapt to the game, and he seems to be taking to it really well, man.
I got to ask you this question. I don't know how much, at least I don't remember how much you were in on Twitter on this, but when Bob McKenzie came out the other day, we're going to shift gears completely away from all the fun. We're going to talk about something ridiculous. But Tony DeAngelo gets in a fight with a teammate, gets punched allegedly by Chris Kreider, is no longer on Twitter, gets waived by the New York Rangers. Then there's this whole amazing thread on Twitter about a burner account where people are saying he's being traded and like him like messaging his agent, all this bull crap that's going on online. It's pretty amazing. There was a segment, I believe it was on NHL Network or some network. I don't remember which one it was, but Bob McKenzie said that teams in Southern California were doing their due diligence, Kings and Ducks, amongst other teams, on Tony DeAngelo kicking the tires, as like the old adage that the old timers like to say in hockey. Do you really think that this guy is coming to Anaheim, or there is any sort of possibility of him even stepping foot in this locker room here? Because I'm going to say no. I don't think it's even a thought that crosses the management's mind here. Not with all these kids here.
So I think there is an overarching truth to the situation as far as how toxic he is, how many different teams have just not wanted to hold on to him at some point. You know what I mean? Yzerman drafted him in Tampa Bay, and he was like, look, yeah, we looked into it, but he was young, and we think, one, he has the talent, and two, he has he deserves a chance to not be who he was at 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we can all admit, like, I don't think necessarily that any of us were doing anything racist per se, but we've all done things when we were 17 or 16 or 18 or whatever that we're like, yeah, no, there was no reason for me to be doing that. I am not against the idea of anybody having a second chance to prove that they have grown. The other part of it is Bob Murray looked at this blue line and said, Kevin Shattenkirk, I need to bring him in. Why? He's a right-handed offensive defenseman. Even Shattenkirk has come in. There could be 100 different reasons why he's not producing at the level that some of us were hoping he would, but he just hasn't had that impact right away. No. I would say when you find out that there is a guy who put up 50 points in 70 games last year from the back end, it would be neglect not to look into it, right? Because that is a player with a skill set that can help the team. The problem is everything else about it is so toxic and so just ridiculous, and his inability to show any sense of remorse for what he's done, his inability to even try and pretend like he's grown. You know what I mean? Like,
to hide the puck from Andre Miller. He's such a piece of trash, dude. Like, he is absolutely toxic.
And here's the thing, right? Like, it is that story has been somewhat disputed by a bunch of different parties. I think there's a lot of different reasons why that's the case, not the least of which everybody agrees they look stupid in that one, right? Like, everybody but Andre Miller looks like an absolute trash in that, because the Rangers for letting it happen, him for letting it do it. It's, if that is true, that's awful. But the thing I think that we also run into here is a lot of people are talking about, like, oh, it's his politics and it's his politics. Dude, it's the NHL. A lot of these guys agree with his politics. He's an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how big of an asshole you have to be for the NHL to move on from you?
Mm-hmm.
Sean Avery got multiple chances. And nobody likes Sean Avery.
So Scott Wheeler has a great thread on Tony DeAngelo. He had it earlier tonight, and the first one, he goes, his chances list. I'm not going to read all of them. If you want to read all of them, you can go and check them out. It's on It's at Scott Wheeler on Twitter. But his first one says, if your first chance is just anything before you're given a second chance, he was born into privilege as a white kid from Jersey whose parents could afford to put him in AAA hockey and let him move to the USHL at 14, youngest player in the league. Fine. Second one, he's infamously, I can't speak tonight, a problem in minor hockey, racking up 176 PIMs in 29 games at 13 years old. He suspended his NHL draft year for violating the league's harassment, abuse, and diversity policy when he abuses an official. Kid's 13. It's like, and then you go on and on and on. You go through all of these, and he has up to 8 on here about why this guy is not just sometimes he says a bad thing, or he made a slip and said something wrong, or he said something out of line. This guy's a definite problem, and it's a waste of talent. Pure waste of talent. Some people are saying they would never support the Ducks again. They would not be a fan of the team. I don't know if I go that far. I just would hate the player. I was talking with a fan of the show, listener Jimmy, last night about it, and he's like, I hate Todd Bertuzzi. I hated the fact he played with the Ducks. I think he's a piece of crap too. Mm-hmm. A little different from the DeAngelo situation for sure. There's been, it happens, but I mean, I guess maybe DeAngelo's that special case. Like, really, you're gonna bring this guy in here? He's like a serious problem.
Yeah, and I think too, one of the things that is just the truth of professional sports, right, is that if your talent level can exceed whatever headache that you cause, there's always going to be teams out of just self-interest who are going to be willing to give you the opportunity. I don't see, even with, again, 50 points in 70 games, that his talent exceeds his headache. He has shown no interest in trying to evolve, be remorseful, apologize. Like, nothing. Not even some, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings crap. Like, he's not even there. He's just, no, screw you. Everything I do is fine, and everyone's out to get me, and cancel culture this and cancel culture that. And it's like,
he's a complete idiot, dude. He's a complete,
just like, okay, fine.
He's a piece of trash, by far.
Yeah, you know what? He's going to get a chance to play somewhere. I don't know that it's in the NHL.
I don't think so. He's not playing the NHL. No one's picking him up.
Oh, you don't think if he goes over to Europe and puts up, 100 points in a season and a half, 100 points in 2 seasons, that somebody's not bringing him back?
You really think they're going to bring in a reclamation project like that to here? Like, this is not a guy who has substance abuse issues, like a serious problem that people can overcome and get away. This guy has serious character flaws.
Right.
He was born with massive problems. And I don't really think there's a way for him to ever overcome that train of thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't see it. And, honestly, when you're employed by anybody, the NHL obviously is a business. They're in the market to make money. Why would you put this guy on your team? Like, this is not going to sell jerseys. It's going to get people to not like you and to make you a meme online. And this would be the worst thing of all the teams in the league that the Ducks could do right now is bring on a guy like that. It would be insane.
No, I completely agree.
So name the team. Who's he going to? Are you going to say Canadian team?
Oh God, no, I don't even know.
Florida?
What is he going to go to, the Panthers? Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he goes to Arizona. They don't seem to mind that problem. I don't know. I just think it's one of those things where right now he's too toxic, and the headache it just outweighs everything. But I just don't know that my opinion of the NHL is high enough to say that he never gets a shot again.
In today's NHL, I would disagree. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'd be like, well, yeah, someone's going to pick him up. I think someone's going to bring him back.
And maybe that's just me being a jerk, you know what I mean? And just not wanting to give the NHL any credit. But I just, man, he's going to end up in a league somewhere. It's probably going to be in Europe. And it's basically going to see, can he just be so good that he forces somebody's hand to pick him up?
Well, let's round out the show. We got 5 minutes left on a high note. You and I were arguing about this on Twitter before we came on tonight. We continued this argument into the show or the pre-show where Eddie was like, you guys can argue this on the show because we got to start talking about hockey. Why don't you like Del Taco?
Because it's bad.
That's not a real answer, one. And two, it's very wrong. And I don't really see where your point's coming from here. I mean, if you're going to say that it's bad, name a better fast food taco joint.
Taco Bell. Every time.
Oh my God. I just wish I could just reach through the screen and just shake you. And it's like, their food is not good. Like, Taco Bell just doesn't have...
Here's
what do they have?
thing.
Like, Taco Bell tried to bring pizza. Tried to make pizza good with their food. It sucked. Their food sucks so bad. They're like, oh, Del Taco's got fries. Everyone likes that. Let's get our own fries. Not as good as Del Taco. They don't have chili cheese fries, dude. They don't have carne asada fries at Taco Bell. Taco Bell's trash. Like, I don't know where you're getting off of this argument.
No. Please understand. Taco Bell is objectively trash. I love it. It's so good. It makes me so happy. I love fast food.
Shane says, I'm eating Del Taco right now as we fucking speak.
I can't. The fries aren't good.
They are delicious.
It's flavorless.
No, that's not true at all. What have you had from there? When was the last time you had it?
Oh, man. I actually had it more than I had it in a while. About a year ago.
I want to go Postmate some right now. I've had 7 beers tonight. I should just go Postmate some Del Taco at 11 o'clock at night.
I've never had Del Taco and been happy. The best thing at Del Taco is cherry Coke.
It must be all the shitty spots in LA because you live in LA and LA sucks. So maybe the Del Tacos there just suck. Or the one you go to sucks. You got to come out to Orange County, and you have to come over, and we'll order some Del Taco. And like I told you, what I'm going to do, I'm going to empty all the food out into their own little places where we can self-serve food. I'll fry our own shells. But then you're going to eat Del Taco ground beef or chicken, whatever you want. and their own beans and all that stuff.
Right.
And their sauce is amazing. Del Scorcho is amazing. It's amazing. You put that on I save the packets and put it on my eggs, put it in my egg burritos. Like, you're really missing out, especially by going over and just picking Taco Bell over it. Like,
I love Taco Bell, man. I love Taco Bell.
There's just nothing good about it.
There's
only
nothing
good thing
good about fast food.
No, the only good
Fast
thing about
food has
Taco
no
Bell
redeeming
is the
qualities.
Crunch Wrap Supreme. That's
Oh
it.
yeah, it's incredible.
It's definitely
genuinely the Crunchwrap Supreme is truly an elite fast food piece of garbage. I love it so much.
an elite.
I don't know, man. Like
Del Taco is you get so much food for like $1.25, and like Taco Bell just doesn't come close. Like, they don't put enough food in their tortillas. It's sad. It's embarrassing. It makes me want to be like revolted and get my money back. I want to like throw the food at the people who made it because it's just not good. Like, I would rather go to Jack in the Box and get their tacos over Taco Bell any day. Any day.
Way to go, soy boy.
Only parts of it are soy.
Yeah, I know.
It's not vegan or vegetarian. Don't try to throw that at me.
I know.
So, okay, let's wrap up the show here with this. We got like 10 seconds before we hit the hour mark. We can both agree In-N-Out's the superior fast food.
Yeah. Oh no, In-N-Out's king.
Over everybody else, right? That's like
Over everything.
that's like
There's
supreme.
nothing in
I mean,
this
but
world.
it's like In-N-Out, and it's like Del Taco's it's like right there.
Yeah, and that's if you zoom all the way out from space, and so the 7,000 feet of difference between them actually doesn't look that big.
Everyone's saying fire, Steven.
Why
Steven
are you
has no redeeming
right?
Oh, I love this. I love how we got on the Tony DeAngelo topic, and I was like, "There's no way I could finish the show on a bummer." No, we got to laugh and have fun with fast food.
So let's fast this then. What is your non-In-N-Out go-to fast food burger?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Non-In-N-Out go-to fast.
I would like to hear from the chat in here, please.
So it has to have a drive-through, right?
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
rule. It has to have a drive-through. Okay.
Eddie's canceled. That's ridiculous.
I'm just not a fan of him. Non-In-N-Out fast food burger. I've had friends say Del Taco's fast food burger is really good. I've never had it, never bought it, so I can't say it. I would, dude, I would have to go Jack in the Box. That's the best burger. The ultimate bacon cheeseburger is the shit. That is a really good burger. That's a really good burger. If you want to eat 1,000 calories in 4 bites, that's the place you go. for fast food burger. Bacon ultimate cheeseburger.
That's a good burger. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am a McDonald's guy through and through, though.
I don't know what just happened there. I just
You blanked out.
Yeah, I just laughed. I can't deal with that.
Wendy's is fine, guys. It's fine. It's
they got the square burgers.
Yeah. Well, okay. Can we just talk about how stupid Wendy's is? Like, there's
this show's gone off the rails, officially off the rails.
Yeah, it's insane. But I just someone was like, I don't like what did someone say on Twitter one time? It was like, oh, I don't like Wendy's because the square burgers feel so unnatural. And then Wendy was like, oh yeah, because they perfectly grow in circles on the burger tree, and everyone was like, "Oh, owned!" And it was like,
Wendy's just have a good Twitter though.
Do they, or do we just have low standards?
Like the Ducks power play, they just got some low standards.
They scored 1 in 20. It's fine. Everything's looking up.
Well, I think that'll be it for us tonight, guys. Thanks everybody for joining in on the show. Tuning in on a Saturday night pre-Super Bowl when everyone's probably be preparing themselves, hydrated themselves for tomorrow's exciting game between Mahomes and Tom Brady. Who do you got tomorrow?
Oh, I refuse to root for Tom Brady. So
I love Tom Brady. I hope he wins.
How do you like Tom Brady?
He literally leaves the Patriots and goes to all the other teams. Who wants to win a Super Bowl? There he is. He brings Gronk out of retirement. It's a good story.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that they already had a great team.
But he just gets to pick. Pick his
How
team,
do
man.
you how do you root for Tom Brady? Here's the thing I'll say to you.
He's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time, easily.
At a certain point, when Boston people like somebody, you have to not like that person. You can't
Tom
support
Brady
Boston. That's the problem.
is to football what Del Taco is to fast food. It's the
I
GOAT.
agree completely.
It's the GOAT.
Agree completely.
I knew you would take
Not
the back
arguing
route
that
on
point.
I knew you'd love it. I got the Bucks. You're going for Kansas City, huh?
Yeah, which I don't feel great about, but
yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
Mahomes is good. And my pops went to high school with Bieniemy, so I want that guy to do well.
Yeah, well, let's go Brady, so we can talk about this on Tuesday night show. We can all talk about the Super Bowl and what happened and how Steven was wrong about Del Taco. I'm sure this will be someone create a meme about with Steven and Del Taco. Please, somebody create something for us. Like it's gonna be amazing. Like screenshot.
All right, I'll say this. I'll tell you this right now. Let's make a bet, me and you.
Okay.
If Kansas City wins, I get to pick your Taco Bell order for Tuesday's show.
And we have to eat it on the air.
On the air. If the Bucks win, I will eat Del Taco during Tuesday's show.
That's rough. You're taking my Taco Tuesday night and putting it at risk. Like that's a risk.
Okay, let's be completely true. Taco Tuesday is about eating tacos, which are Mexican food. Neither Del Taco nor Taco Bell are Mexican food.
Watch your mouth, dude. First of all, Del Taco is really good Mexican food.
It's not Mexican food.
It's Americanized Mexican food. Yeah,
it's not Mexican food.
It is.
It's not Mexican food.
It's more so than Taco Bell is.
That's not how that works. Neither of them are Mexican food.
So this is what we're doing then. You get to pick my order for Del Taco, and then I get to pick your order for Del Taco. That's what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. So we both get to pick Del Taco orders. Okay.
Yeah. But Taco Bell for you.
Well,
so that you can actually eat something that tastes good for once.
Oh, it's terrible, man. Someone agree with you. Finally, you're spitting facts. Yeah, broke Pete Davidson comes through. Who was the guy who said he's broke Pete Davidson, by the way? We were talking about this. We got to figure this out.
Who dubbed me with that wonderful little moniker?
I don't know. Korea Forever Night 1. Okay.
Eddie, so that's kind of creepy.
We've lost a bunch of listeners. We're past 11 o'clock. The last 15 minutes have been fast food talk after Tony DeAngelo. The Ducks won tonight, by the way, everybody. And Trevor Zegras is on fire. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll talk to you guys on Tuesday. Have a great one.
Everybody.